this video, we're going to demonstrate how to paint a magpie. First of all, wet the brush with clear water. Make sure the tip of the brush has the dark ink, which should not be so much diluted at this point. Try to color a bit on paper first, and then check the humidity of the brush, then we're ready to go. Now we paint the head. Adjust the brush, then we're going to paint its breast and the parts on the neck. Now to the wings and to the tail. Dip the brush into the ink, then also dip a bit of clear water. We're going to adjust what we have painted so far. Because in ink painting, we have dry brush style and wet brush style. Therefore, we will constantly adjust the paint according to the ideal image of ours. Dip the brush into undiluted ink. We can now paint its beak and eyes. Now we're going to use the rest of the ink on the brush to adjust the placements of its neck, feather, wings, and etc. Meanwhile, clean the brush, then wet it with clear water. Let's paint the other parts. Again, always try the brush before you start for better control. Hold the brush centered. Try use a one brush motion as shown in the video. Confidently paint this body part. While the brush is still wet, we're gonna paint its belly. Here comes some adjustments again for its tail, wings, and places like that. To paint magpie's legs, we will need some undiluted dark ink. Because its legs are naturally long and firm, when we paint, we will need to control the brush really well. Like, almost just use the tip of the brush, then paint with force and certainty. We will now dip into some ink to improve the entire silhouette of the magpie, including adjust its feather and such, which basically is to create more layers and depth. If you think the tail could be or needs to be longer according to the entire proportion of magpie, please feel free to do so. Now, dip into undiluted ink again, and we will start to paint the branches. In general, we will need to design a placement for where to paint the branches according to the angle of magpie's feet. Then, we will be alternating dark ink and the lighter ink to mimic the dots on the branches. Sometimes, to paint very old tree branches, I use small dots to create its unevenness, as shown. Let's clean the brush now, as the branches are done, and we're going to mix some other color, red, for painting some flowers and buds. The fun part, isn't it? It is essential to have just a bit red color on the tip of the brush. Make sure the rest of the brush is wet, so we will have a flower which is rich in color outside and almost humid inside with this gradation effect. If you feel the color is slowly losing the intensity, we now need to add some more of the red to make sure we have the same intensity as before. Then, continue painting some more flowers and buds. It's time to outline the center of the flower using the dark ink. The tip is to do the step while the flower is half dried, to have a smooth transition between dark ink and red color. Also, to make sure the dark isn't too rigid or mixing up with the red color. To finishing up, we're going to mix some black, brown, and red. Add some color to the beak of magpie. Make this little bird more vivid and recognizable. With some final touches, and now here we go. We have completed a nice magpie standing on a branch, welcoming the spring.